Alright, so here we are with Unit 11, Lesson number 9. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each one of these compounds in more detail. So the first one is going to be the halides. And halide is basically when you take a halogen and you remove a hydrogen and replace it with that halogen. Of course, the halogens are either fluorine, chlorine, bromine, or iodine. And it's basically the same rules that we talked about before when you have, for example, a branched alkane. So if you have a halogen, then just treat the halogen as a branch and just do it the way you would normally do it. So for example, if you look at the first one here, um, you'll see that it says at the bottom here that it is 2-chloropropane. So let's take that for example. Always look at the last part. The propane means that you have 3 carbons. So right away you're going to do 3 carbons. I know they're all single bonds because it ends in A and E. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dashes around each one because I know every carbon has to have 4 bonds around it. And then I look at the first part of it and it says 2-chloro. That doesn't mean that there's 2 chlorines. What that means is that you have a chlorine on the second carbon, which would be this carbon here. Doesn't matter whether I put the chlorine here or here. So I'm going to put the chlorine here. That would be 2-chloropropane. 2-chloro means that your chlorine is on the second carbon, and the propane means that I don't know what's going on here. Next one. If you look at, let's go to this one here. Now this one is a little bit trickier because if you look at it, it has a fluorine and it has another branch. Let's do the parent chain first. Remember the following your finger and following the longest line without having to go back. So the parent alkane in this case is this. That is based on propane. Notice I have a fluorine and I have a methyl group. The CH3 is methyl. Now the fluorine in alphabetical order will go first. They're both on the second carbon. So this would be 2-fluoro. Notice I don't put the whole word for fluorine. And then I'm not going to have enough space. And then 2-methyl. And then propane. So the propane is the longest chain. That's the parent chain. It tells me I have a fluorine on the second carbon and a methyl on the second carbon. Now the third one is based on butane. So it is 4 carbons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just going to put the dashes around it. Now this one's unusual in that it has more than one halogen. Notice it says trichloro. That means that there are 3 Cl's attached to the butane. The numbers simply tell you what carbons they are attached to. So we have 2 chlorines attached to the second carbon and 1 to the third. Doesn't matter what direction I number it in. I'm going to number it in this direction. So here's the second carbon. There's a chlorine here and a chlorine here. And then another chlorine on the third carbon. And it doesn't matter which, if I put it at the top or the bottom. Let's put it at the top. So that would be 2,2,3 trichlorobutane. And that's how you name halides. Let's do the next one. Actually, let's call this one. This will just be this lesson.